In this episode we'll start to put the main profile frame together. We'll custom machine some mounting blocks to hold the caster wheels on, and we'll finish out the rest of the profile frame. Then all we need to do is get the X, Y and Z axis mounted. Let's get started. Welcome back to the workshop, and welcome to this ongoing series where we're building this CNC plasma machine. So far we've got the Z axis complete, we've got the touch off mechanism, and also got the Y and the X axis. Okay, so basically we now need something to bolt it all to. So first thing I'm going to do is make up this main frame here. We'll do the electrical cabinet another time in a future video, but I've drawn it in here just to make sure I've probably got enough space. So we've got a load of slotted 40-40 profile, some angle brackets and some wheels. So let me show you what we've got. So I've got my lengths marked out. A couple of them need some special machining, but most of them either can use them as they are or just need tapping in the end. And yeah, a few detailed shots here. And then the one I need to do a little bit of machining on, some counter boring, just so I can drill and screw all the way through this into the end of another one, make a nice stiffer structure. I've got two of those to do, the rest is fairly straightforward. And then I've got the profile section that you can see here. It's arrived really nicely packed, and it's got a bit of protection on there. So the reason I can't slide it over is because there's a load of stuff on it. Right, so we've got a couple of bags of these. Bag of T-nuts, although I think I'm going to need a few more than that. And I already had these wheels off another project. They just push fit in with a little sort of circlip there to sort of slide them and hold them in a hole. So we've got 4 of those. 2 of them are braked. And now, there we go, I can get the profile up a bit. Pretty thin wall compared to what I'm used to using, but hopefully it'll do the job. Yeah, it's lightweight for this plasma machine, so I've got 2 of those at about 800, I think they were, and then I've got another 2 at a metre, and another 2 at a metre. I didn't want to buy too much, because I wanted to see, what the quality was like. Really up close, how good was the gauge, how likely is that to take a tap, so on. But yeah, I think it looks okay. So I will order the remaining parts to make sure I can build all this, but for now we can get cutting some of the main parts out and see how it's going to go together. Okay, so this will be the cutting area here, and it'll have slats that go all the way across. I haven't shown those on there, but it does mean I can't put corner brackets in that corner and that corner because it takes up valuable space, and you want to maximise the cutting area. So what I'm going to do is drill and counter bore through this side section so I can put an M8 fixing through that one, which means I need to drill and tap this end and that end. This side it's okay because I've got plenty of space. I'll put the corner brackets in there. So yeah, just these top 2, the low ones are okay, and it's just these edges. So I've got the part in the vise, and I was just checking it. I was about to drill it for 6.8. It's a tapping size M8, and it's already basically at 6.8. So happy days. All we need to do is drop the countersink on the floor. Right chamfer on that, stop it raising a burr, or at least help. And then in, straight as we can, with our M8 tap. Okay, next up, just on these two here, we need to drill 4 holes in each of those, and they are clearance holes. So I'm going to put either some very long M6 bolts that hold the base gantry all the way down through here in the spacers, or maybe some all thread with nut and bolts each end. I haven't decided yet, but they're going to be pretty long, about that long, to go tie the whole thing together. So we'll set those up on the drill press in a minute, and I've got those marked out there. And then we need to drill holes and counter bores for the M8 bolts, go through there and there, which go into the cross members, tie the whole thing together. Right, let's set this up on the drill and get those holes done. Okay, I want to keep this pretty straight all the way through, and it's going to hit these walls at funny angles and knock a drill off centre. So I've got an end mill in here which is really stiff, 6mm carbide 2 flute end mill, and it'll probably get us most of the way through, and then we'll just finish it off with the twist drill, having drilled most of the way through. So let's see how we go with this. Okay, now we're going to drill and then counter bore so we can get an M8 cap head through there and show you the profile. So we'll counter bore it all the way, and then on those angled surfaces there we need to go until they're flat and this sits nice and flush, but not too far, so we'll go all the way through. But that's the idea. Okay, here we go. Okay, I've just drilled both holes, now I need the counter bore. Right, well, I've got nowhere near enough hardware. I've got some brackets on order, some more T-nuts, some washers, and some M5 screws as well. But, you know, see how far we get, and just make sure that it's all going to go together as per the plan. Right, now I haven't got enough room on the bench, so I'm going to build this upside down. So this is actually the top, and then the legs will come this way, and then yeah, it should make it a little bit easier. So let's see if these actually go in. Leave that loose for now. Okay, well, it's going together okay. The only thing I've got to be careful of is that I make sure I put enough T-nuts into a section, so once it's closed off, obviously I can't get in there anymore, and I've already had to rebuild another area. You know, you get to that bit and you go, oh, I haven't got the T-nuts in. Now these are not the type that you kind of twist and drop in, they've got to be put in before, so I need to keep checking my plan and looking ahead and making sure I've got everything I need. So that one, how many have I got in there now, having said all that? I've got one. I've got one at the far end, so that's okay, and I need one more here. Okay, it's about as far as we can go. I've run out of hardware. Hopefully the rest will arrive tomorrow or day after, and then we can finish building the frame. So it looks good so far. I've got the two legs will obviously go in the corner here, one over there, and then those two beams over there, they finish off these long sections here. And then I've got two beams on order. Let me just show you a little bit of detail around where the wheels are going to go. So I've had these wheels for a long time. I can't remember where I got them from, but they've got this kind of push fit, and then that's about 10 millimeters, and then that little spring washer is about 10.1, 10.15, something like that. So it's supposed to go into a 10 millimeter bore, and then that gets compressed slightly, and it kind of with friction holds itself in. Yeah, they work pretty well, nice and free running. So I've got two of these and two that are braked. The only thing was there was no way I was going to get those into there, because by the time I drilled that hole, it was going to be basically breaking through. So I thought, okay, I need a kind of mounting plate. So just to check out if it was going to work, I've 3D printed this. So I've got 4 of these, and they're a pretty good fit into there. Yeah, nice friction fit. And then the way it will work is obviously you'll have not these, but you imagine there'll be a piece coming off there and a piece coming off there flush like that, and then that's got the two little holes which will go, so it will sit like that. Yeah, it is that way around, yeah. So one will bolt into there, one will bolt into there. Now these are just plastic at the moment, and I've printed them with 5 layers and 45% infill, so it's pretty dense. It might just about do the job, but I can imagine if you're pushing it along on the floor and it does catch something, that might be enough to break that away from there. So these are just test pieces for now, pretty quick to print, and I'll probably end up machining them in aluminium, and that should be strong enough then. Anyway, that's how far we got so far. Okay, so I've got the first piece in the vise there. I've marked this up because that's going to be my 0, which picks up off that hole there. So as long as that, I bring the tool over and centre it and 0, 0 at that point there, it should fit on. So first thing we're going to do, we'll drill out these holes with a 3mm twist drill. I won't go all the way through because it's a bit deep to do with a 3mm drill, so we'll just go about 8mm on those. Then we'll come out and swap this over to a 6mm end mill, face it 1mm down to get a nice fresh surface. I'm not going to do all this feature, it'll just take too long, it's not really necessary anyway. So I'll then just do the profile, rough that out, and then do the final contour, and then we'll turn it over and deck it to the correct thickness. Right, let's get going. Okay, so I'll finish machining all those little mounting plates for the wheels. So we've got 4 of those, and I think they'll do a lot better job than the 3D printed plastic parts. I've also added some counterbores there because I think that'll allow it to be flush, and just in case it gets a little bit close to the wheel mounting plate. So we've got 4 of those ready to go on. And while I was machining that, a load more hardware's arrived. So we've got extra T-nuts. Surprising how many you need, plus how expensive they are, but here we are anyway. And we got this drop-in style. These are quite nice because I haven't used them yet, but you should be able to drop them in after you've made all the joints. So if you forget something, you want to add an accessory on later, hopefully those will be the way to go. Some longer bolts to hold the gantry on, and a whole load of M5 fixings. That should keep me going. Now, annoyingly, I ordered some washers. These are penny washers or repair washers, but they're not that big. I was expecting them to be a lot larger one than that, and the ones I've been using up until now to hold these corner brackets on are sort of this size, so they'll do the job, but maybe I'll order some larger ones and replace them as we go. But right, so feet are done, all the bits are done. I've cut the extra profile that's just arrived to the right length, so let's get this base frame assembled. Right, well, it's coming together okay. However, I think I've under-ordered on these brackets, so I'm about 4 short. So I might have to use these 3D printed ones just for now, just to get it together, and then I'll have a look around in the house. I'll have another look around the workshop, but I thought I'd ordered enough. I thought I'd ordered actually extra, but anyway, here we are. So let's get a corner sorted out at least to make sure the wheel's going to go on. So I've got one of these roll-in T-nuts, so that should just go into there. Okay, I'm not going mad. I just checked my phone. I did over order. It's just one of the parcels hadn't arrived yet, so it's due in a couple of days. So okay, for now we'll build what we can, and I'll replace the ones, these 3D printed ones, when the new ones arrive. Right, let's get this wheel corner assembly done. I'll set them a bit low so I can bring the section in and then get it set to that height. Now the tricky bit, because you kind of can't really see what he's doing. Okay, so the mounting plates are ready to go on for the wheels. I guess we'll put the plate on first. So I just need to line it up with those little T-nuts. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a way of also bolting through here and tapping into there. That was also going to allow me to put this in. Just other than maybe making this really deep, counter-boring a bolt into there. But then, you know, the maximum head of that would only be 10, otherwise I couldn't get it in. Yeah, I couldn't find a nice way. So all it's really going to be doing is sitting on there, taking that load, but then just joining these two together. Given it's got brackets elsewhere, I think that joint will be okay. All right, let's get these lined up and fixed into place. Okay. Alright, this is where we're up to so far. So the basic frame is complete. When the proper brackets come in, we'll just swap those out, so that's easy to do. But the rest of it's okay. You can probably see those, here they are. Yeah, these intermediate brackets are part way down. That is because there's going to be some kind of paneling in there. It'll make a local little box frame that the plasma will sit in. So it'll sit in a kind of a cradle away from the main plasma and the sparks and everything. So it'll all be enclosed. And then the electronics cabinet's going to go on the side over there. So I might make it a kind of a T-shape to maximise all the space because we haven't got that much depth, but it will kind of fill out the rest of the side there, and again be enclosed to keep it away from all the sparks and things like that. And then the bit that sticks out the back here, this is where the main base of the X-axis gantry that's currently down on the floor there, it's the only place for it, that sits and bolts onto there. So what I'm kind of tempted to do is, the only workspace I've got now is put this on the floor, so I'll turn it around, put it on the floor, and then get the back of the gantry on and see if it fits. Alright, so I think the next thing we'll do, we'll get that fixed axis there, the X-axis on the back. It should drop in, and then the T-nuts come in from the side, hopefully, and then we'll get some long fixings in there and yeah, get that mounted. Alright, so now that's together, we can have a look at see what we've actually got here. Yeah, it's really starting to come together. I was a bit worried when it's at this stage that, is it in frame? Yeah, the weight of the motor and this at the back, which is slightly behind the wheels, would just make it tip up, but I guess, yeah, it might do. But once you get the gantry, which is pretty heavy, on there, all the weight will be between the wheels, so that's absolutely fine. Just got to be careful now it's in this state. So if I turn it round, so it feels quite solid. In one of the earlier iterations of this design, I don't think I had the cross members in at the bottom. I just kind of had it like a table, thinking, oh, it's only a plasma, light duty. But I'm so glad I spent a bit extra, made it into this nice rigid frame. So hopefully, once we get the weight of that on, I don't want it to vary the position too much. Yes, I'm going to have the torch height control built in as well, but nice to get a nice solid foundation to work from. Right, now at the moment it's only held on by those little L brackets you saw me put in, and that's nowhere near going to be good enough. So now let's put the main fixings in. So I've got 4 of these per side, M6 bolts, and they go through this section, through this open box section, up to here. In fact, I think I should probably start with the one furthest away. Alright, with the other side fixed in place, that's about all we can do on the main frame and the X-axis there. I've 3D printed some covers to go on the end there that will kind of seal that off. One for the other side as well. But yeah, it looks good to finally see it after all that hard work in CAD, to finally see it in reality. And so far, I'm liking it. Alright, I think the next thing to do is to get the main gantry. It goes across there, and bolt that on. It's currently hiding, just tucked away there behind the drill press. So we'll get that on, get those bolts in, and just make sure all that's going to fit. Alright, so it's looking great so far. Just put that y-axis on there. There's extra room in the bolt holes there, so I can actually adjust the alignment of this so it actually cuts square. But there's a good chance I'm going to take that off during some of the rest of the build, so I won't square that up yet, but there's plenty of room for adjustment. I can get it dialed in so squares are actually square. Now obviously you'll notice this is a cantilever design, as you can see in the original drawing there. And I thought it was because there's machines out there that are cantilever design. I think JD's Garage, one in particular, and they use 3D printed parts for some of the rails and some of the mounts. And because I've gone all aluminium, I thought, yeah, this will be plenty good enough. And I've pushed on the end, and it's pretty stiff. It will deflect, but you know, for a router or whatever, or CNC machine, a milling machine, this will be nowhere near stiff enough. But I think it'll be okay for a plasma, because it's basically just dragging a torch around, and it'll allow me to get just odd offcuts of sheet that just go into the machine and stick out in all directions, obviously apart from that way, and save me having to chop it down first to get it onto the machine. So I'm okay with that as a call. If it was any bigger, probably, yeah, you'd question that, because there will be some drag on the torch itself that might try and pull the head a little bit. Now, I will have full torch height control on this as well, which will probably help with any small movement on that. So hopefully that's going to work out. Okay, so there'll be a drag chain that comes from the control box that goes all the way along there and then loops back round into there. It's obviously got to sit on a little tray that I haven't made yet. And then the wires will go up there and then through these little cable guides. They're all standardised, so they will just clip in. As you can see, you have quite a lot, and they're double stacked as well. Because there's motors on the Z-axis, there's the motor, there's various proximity sensors, homing sensors, so there's quite a few cables, and I left some spare in case I need to add any more. And they all go back around to the control box. Then, as mentioned earlier in the video, I'm going to make, in fact, I'll probably see there on the drawing, some kind of sheet metal, focus, yeah, some kind of sheet metal form around there that'll hold the actual plasma machine, and then I can plug in for the plasma and the earth at the front, get to the dials and so on, and then the air will come out the back. I'll probably have some kind of quick release at the front. Also, I think I want access, or at least vision, to be able to see the torch height controller, maybe put it at the back so I can see the values and move it up and down. I haven't quite decided where it's got to go. It does say in the manual that it needs to be very near to the plasma machine, probably for EMC reasons, so I'll probably put it at the back here, and then there'll be a plate over the top that will sit on here, because there's 2.5mm gap between there and there, so it'll be a 2.5mm plate. That will bring you back up to flush, so that will all be covered, and then that will continue on. So if you've got big sheets that carry on off the edge, they'll just move across there seamlessly. And then also the enclosure that you can see that I've roughed out, I haven't finalised that yet, but that will go on the edge again. That will be flush, so that will continue out here, and then have a door or something at this side for access. Alright, that's it for this video. If you've enjoyed it, feel free to subscribe, comment, like, all that kind of stuff. That being said, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.